And here we are at it again, folks. Great to have you with us once again. Rush Limbaugh and the EIB Network and the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Let me check a switch here just a second. Yep, everything's on. Didn't sound like it was on, but it is on, so it sounds the way it's supposed to sound, at least to you. Telephone number is 800-282-2882, and the email address lrushbo@eibnet.com. I think everybody's got this Marie Harf thing wrong. Have you heard about this? Obama goes out there, and I forget where he was, an interview somewhere, NPR, somewhere. Oh, by the way, he's making the rounds on global warming. He's blaming asthma. Every health malady your kid has is because of climate change now. And more scientists than ever agree that it is happening, that it is almost irreversible, and the government is the only outlet that can do anything about it to save everybody. And he's making the rounds all over TV, and the meteorology people are dutifully just sucking it all up. We have audio soundbites to prove it. Anyway, Obama's out there, and he let the cat out of the bag. That at the end of that everything Netanyahu has said about the Iran deal is true. That the Iranians are going to get a nuke courtesy of Barack Obama and the United States. And Obama went out there and admitted it himself. And that's the story about in 10 to 13 years, they're going to be able to nuke up. They're going to be able to nuke up. Essentially, they have promised to stay 1 year away from weaponizing their uranium for 10 years. So they're 1 year away now. 5 years from now, they're supposed to stay 1 year away. In other words, they're not supposed to advance their capabilities beyond where they are now, not much. And then 10, 13 years from now, they can go ahead and close the deal and get a weapon. And Obama essentially went out and said that. So they went to the State Department, Marie Harf, who we have referenced on this program. It's really tough for me. Marie Harf, you've heard the old line, if you want to see X in the dictionary, whatever, go look at such and such, and that's what it... Marie Harf is that. She is the textbook dictionary definition of Valley Girl, Northeastern Ivy League liberal, trained governments, the end all to everything, feminist. I mean, she's got everything in the ideal liberal female package, including appearance. She's it. And she's second in command at the State Department as spokeswoman. Jen Psaki was her boss. Psaki's leaving and I think heading to the White House, but she may still be at the State Department. Anyway, Marie Harf went out and said that Obama was a little mixed up there in describing what he had said about the nuclear deal. Open confusion. Here's the headline of the story, and they're all over the place. Open confusion at State Department as Marie Harf tries to walk back Obama's zero breakout time admission. Open confusion reigned today at the State Department after spokeswoman Marie Harf tried to withdraw a quote from Obama regarding Iran's nuclear breakout time. Now, let me check the audio sound. I want to see if we've got her here. But if we do, I will let you hear it. Marie Harf. I don't think Marie Harf. Nope, no Marie Harf here. At any rate, everybody is now demanding she be fired. Everybody's demanding that this is an act of insolence, that this is an act of wanton public embarrassment of Obama. It was indeed in an interview with NPR. Obama acknowledged that after year 13, the current deal being worked out with Iran would not provide the international community with the promised 1-year warning should Iran decide to violate the deal and go for a weapon. He admitted this. He admitted that if Iran can violate it, not to tell anybody, but not until year 13. If anybody thinks they're going to wait for year 13, they're crazy anyway, but this is what Obama went out and said. Obama said in the NPR interview, well, let's see, in year 13, 14, 15 of the deal, they have advanced centrifuges that enrich uranium fairly rapidly, and at that point, the breakout times would have shrunk almost down to zero. The assurances of a 1-year warning time would be available to the international community for at least well over a decade. And then in years 13 and 14, it is possible those breakout times would have been much shorter. To translate this, is exactly what I told you. Iran is promising to stay a year away from breaking out, i.e. weaponizing their nukes, for the next 10 years. When you get to year 13 or 14, they're going to be much closer than a year out, and they're not going to have to warn anybody. They can just do it. And this is what Obama went out and said so. And the reaction to this has been quite commonsensical. Under the scenario that Obama just described here, there'd be no way to physically prevent them from building a nuclear weapon, and they'd be able to go nuclear at will. And Obama essentially laid out how that will happen. In the State Department's attempted response to questions about Obama's statement, Marie Harf told reporters that the president was talking about a hypothetical scenario in which the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action had not been enacted. Marie Harf said that while the president's words were, quote, a little mixed up there, he was, in fact, quote, referring to a scenario in which there was no deal, adding that the president's scenario was more of a hypothetical. Well, look, without a deal, this is what could possibly happen. He was not indicating that this is what the deal is now. He was not indicating what would happen under an agreement in those years. A lot of people, among them the website here, the Israel Project, outright rejected her explanation, noting that Obama was not muddled, but he was in fact responding to a question about whether the deal with Iran was worthwhile given the concessions on Iran's stockpile. He dismissed the stockpile concern and then said the more relevant fear had to do with the sunset provisions that would allow Iran to have a zero breakout time after 13 years. There's no room for reinterpretation here. He said what he said. He meant to say what he said. He said exactly what the deal is. And he wasn't supposed to, apparently. Or at least Marie Harf, acting on her own instincts, believed that Obama had screwed up and had admitted something that nobody at the regime once admitted. That's how I interpret this. And so she felt it her duty to the cause, which supersedes her duty to Obama. Remember, liberals are liberals first. Her duty to the cause was to, at all costs, make sure, try her best, that people did not think Obama was actually spelling out terms of the deal. So she says, well, his words were a little mixed up there. He was referring to a scenario in which there was no deal, but that's not what Obama was doing. So now they're going to need a new spin on Obama's comments. Otherwise, they're going to be accused of blatantly trying to obfuscate with reporters and to confuse them. And Marie Harf, I mean, there's one take out here that says that let's see, this is Charles. Nope, it's Mario Loyola National Review. It says, needless to say, I'm not Obama's biggest fan, but this affront to the president's authority on the part of the State Department spokesbabe Marie Harf was shockingly incompetent. She should be fired, along with whoever it was at the White House that she cleared her statement with. Well, that's the key. At issue is Obama's statement, an NPR interview yesterday, to the effect that after the Iran nuclear deal has run its course, Iran's breakout time to nukes would be reduced to zero. Everybody's known this. Obama said this many, many days ago, many weeks ago. Everybody has known. Netanyahu was right on the money with this. Well, when I say everybody has known, I mean it was reported. Anybody could have known. The way this thing was originally reported was, this is almost verbatim Obama, that for 10 years, Iran has to stay a year away. And during the 10 years to 13 years, they are able to continue improving, researching, developing their nuclear program. But they are promising to stay away from activating the weaponized portion for a number of years. And then after 10 years, the original report was they have a green light. They can go ahead and weaponize after 10 years of getting close, but holding back. And part of the original report was that Obama was not worried about this because, again, now this is unstated, but everybody ought to realize that Obama's worldview on this is that we don't have the right to tell them they don't get a nuclear weapon. In fact, everybody ought to realize he wants them to have a nuclear weapon. You know, this little excerpt that I read from the Obama interview with Thomas Loopy Friedman in the New York Times yesterday. Let me go back to that for a second here. Obama said, we are powerful enough to be able to test these propositions without putting ourselves at risk. And that's the thing that people don't seem to understand. You take a country like Cuba. For us to test the possibility that engagement leads to a better outcome for the Cuban people, there aren't that many risks for us. It's a tiny little country. It's not one that threatens our core security interests, so there's no reason not to test a new proposition there. And if it turns out that it doesn't lead to better outcomes, we then adjust and change our policy again. Now, here's the money portion. He said the same thing is true with respect to Iran. It's a larger country, dangerous country, one that's engaged in activities resulted in the death of U.S. citizens, yes. But the truth of the matter is, Iran's defense budget is $30 billion. Ours is closer to $600 billion. Iran understands they cannot fight us. Iran's a small country, a tiny country. Well, so's Israel. So's Israel. Well, why is he so afraid of Israel? Israel's a smaller country than Iran. I don't know about defense budget. I don't know about GDP, but in terms of population, geographical size, Israel's much smaller. Obama doesn't seem to say of Israel, it's a small country. We don't have anything to worry about. Israel's a small country. The Middle East doesn't have anything to fear from Israel. We can try some new forms of engagement. If it doesn't work out, we'll try something. Why doesn't he extend the same benefit of thought to Israel that he extends to Iran? Bottom line is, he wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I have gone back. I went back and I researched. I got two things I want to share with you on this at this stage. One, a brilliant column today by a man I really admire, Norman Podhoretz, at Commentary. But I went back, before I get to that, I went back to Obama's remarks at the Brandenburg Gate, June 19 of 2013. Barack Obama, there he was, citizen of the world, standing at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. He wanted to do that in 2008, but they wouldn't let him. He did a big speech in Berlin. He wanted to go to the Brandenburg Gate. They wouldn't let him because he wasn't anything at that point. So he made sure to go back to the Brandenburg Gate when he was somebody. And he said in 2013, in June 19th actually, we reject the nuclear weaponization that North Korea and Iran may be seeking. That's a quote. We reject the nuclear weaponization that North Korea and Iran may be seeking. Now, this is in 13, which means it's pre-election. which means Obama is guaranteed to be prevaricating. So I guess today be safe to say that Obama rejects his rejection. In 2013, Obama said he was working to stop the spread of nuclear weapons, cited North Korea, cited Iran. Today, Obama is working, if not to guarantee the spread of nuclear weapons, he certainly isn't working to stop it in Iran. In context, this is kind of blockbuster to me. And Netanyahu spoke to Congress in support of Obama's declarations in 2013. So it's Obama who's flipped.